polarized and chaotic times, these challenges must be met with leadership, by servant leaders of character, with sound policy, and through taking action here at home and across the globe. As you will hear from President Bush at the George W. Bush Presidential Center, that is our charge to keep. Please enjoy the following presentation.
At the George W. Bush Presidential Center, we have a charge to make the world a better place. It's a charge to lead, to use our remarkable platform to its fullest, to cultivate compassionate leaders, young and old, all over the world. It's a charge to educate, to carry the example and the inspiration of President and Mrs. Bush into schools, classrooms, and campuses. It's a charge to sustain, to lead with conviction, to govern with compassion, to respect the dignity and the rights of all, and to serve more fully those who have served. It's a charge to thrive, to harness the deepest power of freedom, to unite markets and human ingenuity toward global prosperity. It's a charge to restore, to draw new life from the principles that made this nation exceptional, and to plant the seeds of freedom everywhere and extend America's historic power to inspire. This is our charge, and it's a charge we will keep.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 43rd President of the United States, George W. Bush.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much for hanging in there. I was thinking about taking a nap myself. Anyway, Doug, I want to thank you for coming and thank you for sponsoring us. I did not realize you were going to announce for President of the United States, however. You'd make a damn good one. Anyway, I appreciate you sponsoring this. I thank you for your kind words. Chairman Evans, thank you for your leadership and the board of directors for being here. I want to thank Ken and Holly. Blaine, congratulations. I thought you'd get a little better award than a piece of paper. Yeah. I hope you've seen that this is a vibrant and busy place. When I got out of Washington, I knew I wanted to do something like defend the values that we think are really important. But I didn't want to set up just a think tank. You know, I think a lot of people, when they think of George W. Bush, they don't think tank. Laura and I wanted to build a do tank where we have we want to think about issues we care about and do something about them. We're very fortunate that Ken and Holly understand that. I must say that after 5 years, our expectations have been exceeded. I think our work is really good and really important. And so you heard the word charge to keep. The reason that came to be is because when I was inaugurated as governor of Texas, we sang, I'm sitting there at the church service, and I picked up the pamphlet. It's right before Mark Craig gave the sermon. And I saw we were going to sing a hymn called A Charge to Keep I Have. And I said, why in the heck did we get this hymn? I've never heard of it. After all, it is my inaugural church service. Somebody picked it, and it wasn't Laura. But whoever did made a wise pick, because the hymn talks about serving something greater than yourself in life. And so A Charge to Keep has been a part of my thinking ever since I got into politics, and it's certainly the thinking here at the Bush Center, that we have a charge to keep to make our country a better place. In order to make that charge to keep work, it turns out we've got to raise some money. Now, Ken's going to put the heavy pitch on you. I'm the light touch. So the danger of these really good institutions is that there's no sustaining power, that no matter how good the programs are, if there's not something to back them up over the long run, they atrophy and go away. And so we're in the process of raising an endowment campaign, the title of which is A Charge to Keep. We're aiming for $300 million. We have raised $170 million thus far, which is, yeah. There's two ways to look at that. Wow, 170 is a lot, or where's the other 130? There's going to be new issues. So we set up a structure that is going to be able to exist without me and Laura. And issues will come up, and challenges will emerge, but timeless principles will always guide our work. And so Ken called me and said, would you paint a painting as the symbol of this campaign? And I did. It's a painting of a giant oak, my favorite oak tree on our ranch. I think it's about a 5-foot by 4-foot canvas, so it took a lot of paint. And here's why I chose the oak, because the oak has got deep roots. This oak has been there a long time, and it's been buffeted by a lot of winds and a lot of weather, like we get in central Texas. But it's steady and sturdy because the roots maintain it. And so as I painted the painting of the tree, I want to share with you a quote that is on our wall here, which I know inspired me, and I hope it inspires you. I gave a speech in England at Whitehall Palace, and I said this: "We believe in open societies ordered by moral conviction. We believe in private markets humanized by compassionate government. We believe in economies that reward effort, communities that protect the weak, and the duty of nations to respect the dignity and rights of all." That is this place charged to keep. We're fortunate to be a partner with SMU. A lot of people think I chose SMU because Laura went here. Well, it had a lot to do with it. But I shouldn't say more importantly, equally importantly, was the fact that SMU is a really good university run by a visionary who has done a fabulous job for this community, Mr. Gerald Turner. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. Somebody was ready to catch him, right? It obviously is a thrill to have the opportunity to talk about the importance of this drive, A Charge to Keep, to SMU. When I was coming in this morning, right there where you go through the metal detector, somebody said, well, I guess the Bush Library is important to SMU, isn't it? And I said, turn around and look at the wall of that garage. And if you haven't seen it, you need to. We have a banner that goes all the way across the parking garage on the west side there, basically to try to say that we are absolutely in this together, have been in it from the beginning. And we were in the midst of our centennial campaign when we got word that the Bush Presidential Center would come here. We had just started it. And our folks said, well, how's that going to work out? And our basic approach from the co-chairs of the campaign, members of the Board of Trustees, was that it's all one thing. We've got a different group of people helping with the Bush Presidential Center fundraiser, 500 and something million there. We've got another group with some overlap on ours, but it's together. And President Bush likes to introduce me as his landlord, but if there's any money to be paid on that, he's in arrears, because it was $1 for 200 years. And that's just how important we obviously think it is. And you cannot have anything that's sustained like that without having endowments. That's why the great universities have large endowments and build them. That's why we work so hard on building up our endowment. And it's going to be absolutely crucial for the Bush Presidential Center to have an endowment. That gives you the ability to be faithful to the founding principles that you have. The Bush family and the Bush staff have certainly outlined well the basic areas of emphasis, and you've heard him say them better than I could, but nevertheless, it lays it out so that in 30 years, the guiding principles will be there, and there will be the endowments that were raised at this period of time growing to ensure that those will be followed in perpetuity. One of the great things about this presidential center is that it has been better. He said, surprised at how much it's grown in 5 years. Some on our campus were very worried about whether or not it'd be full of ideologue rather than ideas. And the president is mainly interested in ideas. As he said, I've got an opinion, but I want to know the best ideas. And as a result, our faculty work with this program here. Our staff, our students love coming over here, and they really love having one of the two of them come to class and visit with them, as President Bush did twice last week. And so if you want to see some eyes get large and some jaws drop, just watch him walk into a classroom because it's enormous. It's a great benefit for us. And so as a result, I can tell you that from our standpoint, joint programs like this economic policy initiative and all the things that we just announced and that many other things will be coming forward are all a part of a great partnership that should go across the ages. And that's what an endowment provides. And those of you that give endowments really are giving roots to the institution that you're wishing to support. And this one is fully, fully worth your support. And after all, we believe in it, 200 years, and then hopefully by then it'll be ready for some renovation. But nevertheless, we've had great partnership. Mark Langdale starting off, and after that there was a transition with Margaret Spelling. But we couldn't be happier with Ken Hirsch. Ken brings an incredible sense of organization and ideas and structure, and he also ends up having more patience than just a business guy ought to have or could be expected to have with the vicissitudes of the academy. They're there. They've lasted for 1,000 years. They're not going to change in 5. And so you got to work with them. And Ken works with them very well. But we consider him a great partnership to carry on the Bush's mission here. Ken Hirsch.
Thanks, Gerald. I appreciate President Bush, the setup for that. That was really nice. When President Bush asked if I would take this job, I was at the upstairs in his studio den, and we were having a nice conversation, and we started talking about the Bush Center, and I as a donor, was talking about it and thinking about the vision, et cetera. I forget which one of the cats jumped up on me. I'm really allergic to cats. And so my eyes start watering, and I didn't know if I was even in a weak moment or he thought I was getting teary-eyed talking about the Bush Center. But he asked if I would consider doing this as I was thinking about my Chapter 2.0 in my life. And I said, I really just have one question. And it was a softball, I think. And I said, is this just your family office? Because if it's just your family office, then you don't really need me to work on your projects and Mrs. Bush's projects while you're here, and later on it might be a beautiful museum with a lecture series, then you sure don't need me. And by that time, Mrs. Bush had come up, and the cat's on my lap, Mrs. Bush is here to my right, and President Bush is to my left. And they both resoundingly said, no, not at all. We have great momentum. There's been great leadership here, great work done, but we know we can do that much more. and we want this to live long past us and make the biggest impact as it possibly can. And I said, I'm a builder. That's something that I'd take on. And so since then, it's been a joy. I would be remiss if I didn't take a minute to thank the incredible team from top to bottom that's on display here at the Bush Center. From the exquisite detail of putting on an event like this to the highest-minded policy work that's being done at the highest levels. The team's all around. They're all here. They're all listening. And I'm bragging on you. Even though you don't like me bragging on you, I'm bragging on you. You're the best there is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, as President Bush said, this is about the work we do, and it's about the principles. From my standpoint, it's a very simple task. It's about the goal of enduring promotion to timeless principles. And we've structured that sustainable design around 4 elements. One is leveraging the themes of President and Mrs. Bush. And right now, we love the fact that they're out in front and center, and their voices and their inspiration give us the motivation, but also provide the long-term echo. And these are not only what's printed on the wall, engraved on the wall, not the donor wall, the wall that President Bush read from, which is a long-term echo. It's a speech from 2003, but it really summarizes what we believe in. Expressions like the soft bigotry of low expectations, those are words that will live on and provide that long-term echo to help guide future staff. So leveraging those themes is important. Second is strategically designing programming. We can take on programming, we can have fun events, but they have to be relevant. They have to be action-oriented. They have to have both reach and depth. You've seen the reach here when we're talking about topics that are pivotal, that are on target, that are central to the discussions of the problems of the day. And the depth is achieved when we can achieve leverage. We don't have a retail arm here. The museum is great, and we can see several 100,000 people a year, but we can't touch everybody. But we can touch thousands who can then touch millions. And through leadership programming, as an example, that's leverage, and that provides the depth. As we go, we will build a growing base of alumni, of Bush Center alumni from all over the world who have touched our programming, whether it be veterans, or whether it be educators, you name it. And that also provides a base. Third is thought leadership, and you've seen that on display today, which is making sure that we have great thought leaders. And an Endowed Fellows program will allow us to recruit and retain even higher visibility thought leaders to share the mantle. And then finally, engagement. How do we engage with so many constituencies who reach out to us and who we reach out to? Starting with annual events like the Forum on Leadership, mark your calendar for April 11th, 2019, and annual traditions like medals and citations that will form a base of history and tradition that will emanate from the Bush Center. And all of this is on display this week, and I couldn't be more proud. Thank you to President Bush and Mrs. Bush for having the confidence in this team to pull this off and to execute on your vision. You trust us with a lot, and we don't take that lightly, so thank you very much. So the missing piece is endowment, to make sure that what we do is sustainable from a financial point of view. There was a meaningful endowment when I got here, and after looking at the strategic plan and looking at the needs list and really just cementing in the programming we have, not to be overly expansive, the board approved a $300 million capital campaign. And entitling it a charge to keep was a natural. Everybody here has now participated through your presence in that campaign. And I couldn't thank the executive committee that campaigned more, the board, the Executive Advisory Council, and so many supporters who have made it happen. We're at $170 million. We're 57% of the way there, and we've been at it for about 11 months. So I appreciate that, and it's a special treat to really be able to just talk to so many friends who really are so bought in already to the themes of the Bush Center. All I really have to do is lay out the investment case as to why what we're doing is sustainable and it works. People like to invest in what works, and the Bush Center works. President Bush mentioned a painting. if a picture's worth 1,000 words, then a dramatic painting composed by the 43rd president is an entire novel. So we asked him to paint what the term "my charge to keep" means. He described the painting. Against that painting, he wrote, "Deeply rooted here and in each of us is the desire to serve. Safeguard timeless American values and leave behind a stronger country and freer world for our children and grandchildren. This is our charge to keep, and we will keep it." Yes, we will, Mr. President. You'll see the painting as you exit. It is now hanging in the Hall of State. We've also advertised on social media for the last couple of weeks for people to send a photo through hashtag #MyChargeToKeep on the ways that they lead in their community. And I don't know if you've noticed it, but those photos from all over the country have been reduced to postage stamp size images and have now formed a